This is Top Shop Podcast.
Shop Podcast.
Top Shop Podcast.
Podcast for automotive service business owners by Paul Donahue.
Hey, Top Shop Podcast listeners. I've got a great guest today. Another one, Michael Schoenbeck with Grip Edge. So Michael's been in the automotive industry for 35 years. He pretty much got into the industry right out of high school. So we first met at a MAP conference, Motorist Assurance Program. So if there's any listeners, I usually say this in pretty much every podcast I do. If you're an auto repair shop owner and you're not familiar with the Motorist Assurance Program, please go to motorist.org or actually AMRA, the Automotive Maintenance Repair Association, and take a look at what that organization can do for your shop and how it can increase your revenues by being able to go to your customers and say, look, it's not us saying that this needs to be replaced. We're a Motorist Assurance Program shop, and the Motorist Assurance Program sets guidelines for parts replacements and things like that, working with the manufacturers. And they're the ones that say that this should be done. So you can increase sales at your shop just by using third-party information. It's not you saying that it should be done. It's the Motorist Assurance Program that is saying it should be done. So that's where I met Michael, was at the Motorist Assurance Program. So why don't you give me a little background? How did you get into this industry? You pretty much got into it right out of high school. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. You know, I've always had a very strong interest in just mechanical things in general, whether it's an airplane or a car or a motorcycle or just how things work. And
right.
And obviously, as I got older and got into the driving age and started understanding a little bit about automotive technology, I used to get a recurring subscription when I was a kid to Popular Mechanics for my grandma for my birthday every year. So that kind of got me interested. And then, you know, probably in the mid 80s, we started seeing electronic fuel injection coming out. I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting stuff, you know, and as a kid, you know, not knowing a whole lot about that. And I think it kind of just grew more of me being interested in cars, liking older cars and stuff like that. Thought I think I might be able to make a career out of this. So yeah, I went right out of high school. I went to a 2-year technical school and got an associate's degree in automotive technology. Later on, I went on and got my formal 4-year degree. I think that was the best thing for me personally. Not everybody's really cut out probably for 4 years of college right out of high school. Some people are. I probably was not one of those kids. But going to tech school was great for me and learning the industry as a working tech for about 6 years after I graduated and getting ASE certified and whatnot, just really give you a good, strong roots, in my opinion. I don't know everything and I never will, but I learn something new every day. But, you know, just gives you a really good, strong roots, good critical thinking skills, and just how the industry works and how these advanced cars are getting more and more complex every day. And it's been an interesting ride, and it still continues to be for me.
Well, yeah, you've seen a lot. I got some great questions for you. You've seen a lot of changes in the industry. So as the auto repair shop owner, I don't know if they know, but Top Shop Podcast, we do 2 types of interviews. One is with shop owners that have been in business over 10 years. Only 4% of shops make it that far. So I really want to get those shop owners' expertise and experience recorded. And then it's industry leaders like you guys are people that are in the industry, in corporations that somehow in some way serve the independent auto repair shop owner, even if it's in a roundabout way that a lot of the shop owners don't even know about. So Michael's definitely one of those. You're ASE certified?
I'm not currently. I have been.
But you've
master
been
certified. Yeah, with the role that I have now, it hasn't been of real importance. It's more important to me probably, but
sure.
You know how my role is, Paul. I travel a lot. I'm in a lot of airports, about up to 50% of the time, and it's a little bit hard, but wouldn't mind doing that again someday. But yes, I've had and recertified as a working tech a couple of times as a recertified master ASE certified technician. I got as far up as also for the advanced tests, L1, back when they only had L1 for the advanced. And after that, I kind of moved more into the roles that I sit in now in automotive tool and equipment companies that supply the market.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people go that way. I remember a long time ago, I dated a girl in Daytona. She was a nurse and she was something with like surgeries or whatever. And then this company came by that sold the machines that they use in the surgeries. She ended up making going to work for that company, making 4 times what
Wow.
she would have made. And this was like some high-tech nurse. So her salary would have been pretty fat. So
Yeah.
she ended up making 4 times that salary being a sales representative for the company. So kind of same with you. You know, you've got the certifications, you know how to do the work, but you gravitated towards the working with the corporates. So
Well, I can tell you, I don't have that same similar experience as far as that kind of salary increase.
right. Oh.
But that would have been nice. But good for her.
Yeah.
No, and in addition to obviously having ASE certification, I've also been very fortunate from working in the companies that I have worked for since being a technician. I became a member of SAE, Society of Automotive Engineers, and I'm not super active in that, but I am active, and that brings a lot of good information because that's really the forefront of some of the new technology that's coming out. You're seeing and hearing about it as an ASE or a SAE member first, before it really kind of hits the road. So that's been a nice membership to have as well.
Right, awesome. Well, you recently made a career change, so bring me up through high school. You know, what companies did you work for? So you are now the national account sales manager for Grip Edge. So when I met you at the MAP conference some time ago, you were with a different company then. So you've just recently made this switch,
Mm-hmm.
a different kind of company. You had a lot of reasons, to switch over. So we want to talk about Grip Edge tools obviously here in our podcast, but give me give me the walk that you went through the corporate thing, to get
Sure.
where you're at now.
Yeah. So after working as a working tech for about 6 years, I had an opportunity to work for a tool and equipment company that was what we consider here in the industry a mobile tool and equipment company. When I say mobile, it's one of the four larger franchises that you hear about that drive around, and they have people that drive around in the territory that they have as a franchise, and that's their route, so to speak, and they sell tools and equipment to professional repair shops, whether it's an auto body shop or general automotive repair, heavy duty truck, or that type of thing. So everyone's kind of familiar with those four brands out there.
Okay.
And yeah, so I worked for one of those in a corporate setting as uh, basically a test technician or research test technician. So I got to test out and evaluate new products. So things like diagnostic scan tools or ignition scopes and lab scopes. I got to test and evaluate in a real world environment. I actually had a area in the organization called the automotive lab, and that's where I got hired in. So I would test these products out on cars. We even had a in-ground chassis dynamometer that I would use, and yeah, test those types of products out. There were times I would be testing out maybe a vended product that was a specialty hand tool type of thing, or one day I might be rolling a big old scope up to the car to test it and look at the ignition secondary waveforms. This is all kind of like pre-OBD2 stuff, right? So nowadays you can, look at ignition information on a scan tool. But back in the day, scan tools were not quite as advanced as they are now. So you had to look at things as primary and secondary ignition patterns and that type of thing. Of course, it's evolved from distributor to distributorless ignition to direct coil on plug, that type of thing. And I mean, like we were talking about earlier, the industry and the technology keeps changing. So yeah, I was doing those types of things. Air conditioning equipment as an example, and other types of shop equipment I'd have my hands on. And during that time, doing that for about 6 years or so, that's when I was had some people in sales and marketing and product management kind of approached me and said, hey, you know a lot about this type of technology. You should, maybe go and get your formal 4-year degree. Maybe you can move up. So I thought, okay, well, if they think I can do it, I guess I will do it. So I did, and actually did quite well in my formal 4-year degree. Got some, I guess, graduated cum laude. So whatever that means, right? But yeah, just that kid from high school that just pulled C's and a few B's here and there did pretty good, I guess. So Yeah, after I got my formal 4-year degree, I kind of moved into more of the sales and marketing. Initially, I left that company I was talking about after about 10 years, and I worked for a few companies as a product manager. That's where you're working between the sales staff of the organization and engineering to identify product needs or enhancements of a product. So I handled handheld kind of like diagnostics. And when I mean handheld diagnostics, I don't necessarily mean a scan tool, but
Right.
things like a digital volt ohm meter, a digital multimeter. I handled things like compression test equipment for both diesel and gas. I handled fuel pressure test equipment for both diesel and gas. Now, with diesel, it was always tested more of the lift pump system, the low pressure side, which is kind of similar where some automotive technology has went, but that type of thing. And so, and specialty tools as well. I handle a line of specialty heavy duty, and one company I worked for, we had a few minor products kind of served motorcycles as well. So kind of handle that is in between working with the engineering department for enhancements or bringing out new product and what the sales force needed. And of course, understanding where automotive technology was going. And eventually I moved into sales, a true sales and account management role. So that's the role I face now. So the last, probably 15 plus years, I've been working for companies more along the lines of either specialty hand tools or diagnostic equipment. And that would include also both heavy duty and light duty scan tools and multimeters and scopes and AC equipment, that type of thing. And now this role that I've undertaken with Grip Edge Tools is moving back to the hand tool industry.
Sure.
So the Grip Edge has some very unique and patented designs that none of the other larger, well-known hand tool manufacturers in the world really have ever had, and it's kind of a breakthrough design, several breakthrough designs, if you will, that are design technologies incorporated. So things like Torx and Torx Plus and hex fasteners. So we're talking like internal Torx fasteners, internal hex fasteners, internal Torx Plus fasteners. We have a different profile that not only allows you for the safe and proper use on a new and undamaged fastener, but also the ability to remove a rounded out or partially stripped out fastener, where typical profiles that I mentioned, hex and Torx Plus, will not remove those fasteners. So it's not meant as just an extraction tool. That's far from the case. It's meant as your everyday tool. Whether it's a good, properly working fastener on a brand new car that's never been damaged, you will remove that fastener just fine and can install it just fine. Or if it's a very old car that's been partially had that fastener removed several times and it's gotten compromised or partially stripped or is stripped, our tools, regardless of that fastener condition, will remove those fasteners. So some very unique and patented design technologies and were implemented in the Grip Edge tool line, and that kind of made me pretty excited about joining the Grip Edge team in this capacity.
Yeah, so that's why I like having guys like you on the show, because you're involved with Grip Edge and in a different part of the industry, but you've got 6 years on the shop floor, so you've been on both sides of the fence, so you understand it really well. So and then and graduating magna cum laude, by the way, that's top of the class. So and if you got C's in high school, kind of like I did. I mean, algebra and and English aren't at the top of your list in high school. It's girls, but things change. You get a little older, you go back to school, your focus is different, and then and you're a lot better. So, who is your Grip Edge tool? Tell us a little bit about Grip Edge. Let's talk about this, because
absolutely
you can save a massive amount of time. If the right tool for the right job. So if you're working on vehicles and then the vehicle's 4 or 5 years old and you're working on the undercarriage or whatever, you've got 5 years where the last time that bolt was put in or taken out was at the plant. So If that thing comes out the first time successful, or you have a problem getting it out, that boils down to, over the course of the year, money. Because the
Mhm.
faster that you can get jobs done and get them in and out, as you know from being on the shop floor, the higher profits that we can provide the repair shop owner. So who is Grip Edge Tools? They've got special patents over Snap-on or these other tools that they don't have. So tell me a little bit about that and how that
Yeah.
benefits the shop owner.
No, those are good questions. Yeah, and I mean, I can talk about other professional tool and equipment companies. Obviously, we sell to some of those other ones that I had mentioned before, like the mobiles, right out there, and we also sell our own branded product through other professional distribution markets. So we are a family-ran company, private family-ran company, located out of Brandon, Florida,
Brandon,
and yeah, just outside of Tampa.
sure.
Grip Edge has been around for about a decade, believe it or not. But as far as Grip Edge Tools has only been around for a little over a year and a half. They started marketing their designs and their products recently under the Grip Edge name, Grip Edge Tools name. The reason being is the first 8 or so years of the company being in business, they were doing private branded tools of a lot of those same technologies that I was talking about, the designs and the patented designs for Hex and Torx Plus and all that, to one of the largest, or probably the largest worldwide, I'm talking worldwide company out there, under several of their brands. So you can think of a worldwide brand company. They have hand tool brands under their corporate brand that serve automotive, serve other industrial accounts and other worldwide accounts. So these profiles, these patent technologies were exclusive with this one particular large tool and equipment manufacturer. And that is who Grip Edge started with and ran the first close to a decade, really. I'll say 8 years with that. And those exclusivities have ran out. We still are a big supplier to that in that particular company and will continue to be. And they're a great customer of ours. But we decided that we could also coexist in a world where we can offer it under our brand and market it the way we think we can market it to gain some additional market share. We all know certain mobile tool companies, as an example, may have strong areas in parts of the U.S. and maybe not strong areas in others. So that was, one of several reasons probably why we decided to kind of go off and market under the Grip Edge name, our own corporate name, so we could concentrate on selling our products through professional tool resellers out there. We are not particularly a retail-oriented company. We don't necessarily, you're not going to find our products in a True Value hardware store, as an example, or an Ace Hardware or something like that. Maybe someday some of our products could make it there, but we really concentrate on being a professional grade tool for professional repair technicians. And you, like you mentioned earlier, Paul, cars that, especially up in the Rust Belt area where I live, these fasteners, they get compromised. They get go through heat cycles and slush and salt and a lot of moisture, and all those cycles and all those years, they get kind of welded in, basically. And I can recall, as a working technician, I had to one time remove a seat belt out of a vehicle because the seat belt was damaged. The customer wanted a new seat belt installed. Kind of an odd job, but you get those as an independent repair tech, right? So the anchor that held the bolt, or the anchor that held that seatbelt anchor down into the chassis of the vehicle, goes through basically the floor, and there's like an engineered fastener built within that floor, right? But that thing got so rusty and all that. I can remember using a standard typical Torx, and it doesn't matter what brand it was,
Right.
they all have the same profile. When you compare it to ours, being a different profile, they're all made basically the same. Yeah, they may use a little bit of different material. They may use a little bit of a different heat treat. They may be a different overall length difference or something like that. But overall, they all have the same profile. So if we say, hey, like a T55 or a T60 Torx, they're all going to be the same profile. Well, I can remember putting my impact gun onto this T60, we'll call it Torx bit socket or Torx bit fastener. And wrapping away on it because it's so rusted. I had to get it out, and it started camming out. That's how basically Torx fasteners fail, is they start camming out. They start moving. There's enough kind of tolerance, open tolerance in there that they just work back and forth, and yeah, you start getting them out, and eventually you got to get a torch out, or maybe some other kind of handheld device that will heat that fastener up and allow you to get it out. So eventually you have to go that route. Otherwise, you're going to strip that fastener, and you're going to be drilling that thing out and taking a lot of time and effort to try to get that out. By the way, we do have a line of socket extractors and broken bolt extractors. If a technician ever had that severe case where they had to do that, we offer that with some very unique patented technologies as well. But we can cover that maybe a little bit later. But yeah, so once you heat that thing up, then you're maybe lucky enough to get it. But now you've got a fastener that's compromised, or it's opened up a lot more. So, well, do you wait for another one to be delivered? And maybe you can't wait that long because maybe this parts house doesn't have what you need. Maybe you got to wait. So maybe you got to reuse that. Well, with Grip Edge, the way it grips inside the fasteners, and we really have a whole approach and a demo blocks that we show people with stripped out fasteners and how our tools work in there. So unfortunately, I can't really show that to you here on this podcast, but if you ever come to any of our booths on any of our shows where we're at, you can see our tools in action on compromised and stripped out fasteners. So my point is, if I was that technician back in the day and I had Grip Edge tools, I could have put that in that into that bit socket, and I would not have started camming it out. I would have removed it. Fine. Maybe I had to put some heat on it. That like anything, maybe not, but it would have definitely gripped it out a lot better, and not cause that damage or that started to cam it out. And no problem on reusing that fastener anymore because it did not damage that fastener any further. So that's really kind of the real world. One example of several real world examples. So again, we have what we call RPT. That's kind of what we refer to as our design. RPT stands for Rounding Prevention Technology, and it does just that. So on a Torx or an.
That's the question I was asking. Who is Grip Edge Tools? So you make specialized tools that are different from your standard tools that you can buy from any distributor. These are specialized tools. Grip Edge.
Honestly, I wouldn't call them specialized, Paul. I would say that they're your everyday go-to tool, but because of the patented profiles of RPT, rounding prevention technology, they're your go-to tools. Whether it's a good fastener, like I mentioned earlier in the call, or a damaged fastener, you're going to be able to remove a good fastener without damaging it and reuse it, or you're going to be able to remove that damaged fastener. And worst case scenario, if you had to reuse it, you could. I don't recommend that.
Right.
But that's the scenario that technicians have these days that they're faced with. I always recommend get a new fastener if one is compromised, but that's always easier said than done. So that's really where the RPT technology comes in. It will work properly on brand new, uncompromised, undamaged fasteners all day long. Remove it, install it, remove it, install it, remove it, install it. You're never going to further damage that fastener.
Right.
Or if you already have a damaged or partially stripped out fastener, the profile of those different profiles for hacks, for triple square, for tamper-proof Torx, for Torx, external Torx also, we have those profiles that will grip it better.
Right. So they're everyday tools, but the
absolutely
technology that are in them, they're gonna work better than your standard tool because of the specialized grip and the way they interlock with the various different types of bolts, Allens, Torx, et cetera, et cetera. So
you nailed it. In fact, we even have some customer testimonials and several customers that come to our booth that says, yeah, I moved all my bit sockets over to your guys' RPT design.
Sure.
Based on what they had before.
Why would you use anything else when you got something that's going to guarantee get a better grip or from the get-go? Yeah, so you just you replace them with these tools. Where are these tools made, by the way?
Well, these are professional grade tools, but we have a very strong relationship overseas in Taiwan with a high-end, high-grade tool manufacturer, and they really are an extension of ourselves. We have an engineering team in Brandon, Florida.
Right.
that designs specs and draws up and does that, and a very good product management team that does that. And once we have that prototypes worked up and the design figured out, then we work very closely with this overseas Taiwanese, not China, Taiwanese supplier.
Right.
And they offer a very high-end tool. And again, these are lifetime warranty tools. They're very high-end professional grade. And as an ex-technician, I'm an American. I love obviously American-based companies. We are an American-based company. We just don't happen to do manufacturing here, but it's high-end stuff. So that seems to be hitting the market very successfully with that relationship that we have over in Taiwan with that high-end tool company. Like I say, they really are an extension of ourselves.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of Asia is really benefiting from China's stupidity and aggression because manufacturing is leaving China, foreign owned manufacturing companies. So they're leaving rogues and going to other places. I think Apple just went to India. I mean, they just left the building and and they built a new building in India. Does any kind of a warranty come with these tools? Like a lot of tools that you buy, they've got, some pretty strong warranties.
I never really looked that close into that. I'm sure there maybe are some, obviously, like anything. We live in a litigious society. Unfortunately, we love to sue people in this country, but not that a lot. For the most part, we have a line of impact sockets too with the RPT design. So really, we do have the right tool for the job in most scenarios.
Oh, maybe you didn't understand the question. What kind of warranty does Grip Edge?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a lifetime warranty.
A lifetime. Okay.
Absolutely. Lifetime warranty. Yep. All of our products are lifetime warranty.
Okay. So anything ever breaks, just give it back and you guys replace it. No problem.
Absolutely. There are some manufacturers out there that if you have, say, a bit socket that you maybe broke or stripped out or something, they may just pound a new bit into the base socket. We just replace the whole entire tool. That's just our philosophy. Okay. We feel that if you're going to trust us with you and whatnot, you're going to get the full socket tool and tip and everything as one piece back. So that's how we do our business.
What industries is Grip Edge serving? Now, obviously, the auto repair shop owner, the techs that are actually doing the work, that would be the main one. But industries what industries do you guys serve?
You know what? We kind of use the tagline anywhere fasteners are used. So yes, we are strong in automotive. We are strong with heavy duty trucks and fleets.
Oh, okay.
We sell to aviation technicians. We've got some wonderful aviation technician customer testimonials on our website where it saved them time from having to totally eliminate the flight or discontinue the flight, cancel the flight. I said probably the better way to say it. If they almost had to cancel a flight, but when they were using our tools, they were able to remove the fasteners, fix the product, or fix the item, and then reinstall with the fasteners with our tools. And these fasteners were compromised. So normally they would have to drill them out. And of course, drilling out in aviation is not always an easy thing because they have FOD concerns, which FOD stands for foreign object damage. Obviously with jet propulsion and all that, that's of huge importance. So just being able to remove the fasteners with our tools without having to cause any more damage or drill them out was huge. So we have some great customer testimonials there. But we sell to people who maintain like assembly line operations, things like that, or material handling operations, or we sold our tools to people who work on those big old man lifts that lift you up 30 feet up in the air or whatever. So yeah, it's a lot of different industries, and again, our tagline is anywhere fasteners are used.
Right. Okay. Hey, you've been around the industry for 35 years, so that's a long time. How have you seen what changes do you see coming? Do you think in the automotive industry, and how's Grip Edge preparing for those?
No, that's a great question. Things are getting even tighter and packed in cars and all that. In fact, you look at like some modern European cars, as an example. they may be using triple square or external torques and things of that nature, and things are tight, in an engine compartment. So obviously, if you had a stripped out fastener in a very tight engine bay, as an example, that could kind of make for a bad day. Where if you could eliminate the stripping out by the use of our fasteners, and like I mentioned, we even have RPT profiles for external torques, which is a big one that Europeans are used, and even triple square. If you can eliminate that from happening, that's just half the battle right there. Now, again, if a fastener is partially compromised or partially stripped, but you can still remove it, that's great. I'm going to recommend all day long a technician replace that bolt, but we also know that sometimes a car needs to leave the shop. You can't get the right product delivered in time. So at least with our tools, and if your back is up against the wall, you can still take that somewhat compromised fastener and still reuse it. Again, I don't recommend that. It's not a recommendation, but it's a real world scenario that technicians are out there. So really, it's just the packaging of cars, automotive technology. The rust belt is still existing. We in upper Midwest where I live, they still put out salt and brine solutions, and those fasteners are going to keep rusting. You have dissimilar metals. There's increasing usage of composite materials or aluminum body panels that may be bolted into regular steel structures and things like that. So dissimilar metals and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be that those headaches that come up. And so if you can again avoid the damage or avoid the catastrophe of further completely stripping out a tool where you got to get out and drill and tap or something like that, that just takes away a lot of pain factors for technicians.
So which direction do you see the automotive industry going? Do you think the EVs are going to continue, and your tools are just as effective on the EVs as?
Oh, for sure. Like I mentioned, Paul, anywhere fasteners are used, right? Obviously, yeah, EVs are here to stay, in my opinion. I think it's proven technology. I don't think it's technology that's perfect for everybody. Me personally, I don't see how it would be a benefit for me to spend that kind of money for an EV. But it works for some people. And sure. I think they're here to stay. I think we're going to still continue to see downsizing of engine technologies and things like the turbocharging and whatnot, and along with hybrid vehicle technologies. So, the automotive industry is still going after fuel economy. I think fossil fuels are still here for a long time. 2 or 3 years ago, it seemed like the government really was in just my own opinion here, kind of artificially propping up pure EVs. And I think sure. The technology is good enough to stand on its own. It just it's not right for everybody. So internal combustion engines, as far as I'm concerned, are here to stay. We might see in another 10 to 15 years, we might see some advances in fuel cell or hydrogen. But that's still kind of early stages. Being an SAE member, I get to see that type of thing talked about, and it's interesting, but it's still a ways out there. So yeah, I continue to see more smarter packaging, trying to do things more efficiently, and the whole packaging and stuff like that of cars. Obviously safety is a huge critical thing, right? We have the NCAP testing on cars, and how well they perform on either rollovers or head-on crashes and stuff like that. It's always a moving target in this industry, as we all know.
Right. So obviously, the owners of your company, Grip Edge, they saw a need in the marketplace,
mm-hmm.
and decided to fill it with this proprietary, patented tool manufacturing process that just replaces the tools that they would normally use anyway. Why would you use an inferior tool when you know that you could use a tool that's going to get a better grip on these bolts? So is that how it all came about? They started researching this. Do you know the story? Because it's a family-owned business. Pretty rare
yeah.
nowadays.
I know a little bit of the story. Obviously, our ownership could probably tell you a little bit more in detail than I can. But yeah, my understanding is um, somehow it was brought to their attention of a different design for removing stripped out hex fasteners, bit type socket fasteners, and they took that design and they saw that, yeah, it helps remove, but it's not necessarily your everyday tool. And then they perfected that design, and what I'll call right now the RPT design, right, the running prevention technology. So, yeah, the first foray was into hex bit sockets, so both SE and metric, and then obviously they were able to start. They're very technical in nature, and started understanding how some of the shortcomings were for Torx were. So that profile or RPT profile for Torx was created. Same for Torx Plus, same for external Torx, same for tamper-proof Torx as an example. So, basically all those profiles were similarly created so that they work properly on, like I say, new and proper and undamaged, uncompromised fasteners as your everyday tool, and also the superior grip. Basically, how RPT works, and for the most part, Paul, is that on a partially damaged or partially stripped tool, it kind of grips the material and pulls it to the inside versus forcing material to the outside, like standard profile tools typically do. And so that's where the RPT technology comes. And like I say, any technicians or shop owners watching this podcast, if you ever come to our booth in any trade show that we're at, or if you have a good mobile tool distributor that's selling our products and understands it and maybe has some of the demo blocks and demo tools that we have, they can explain that to you, and you'll see there, the demo blocks as an example. I can probably show you one here. So it might be kind of a close-up example, but here I got two Torx fasteners right here where both my fingers are at. And one is an undamaged Torx fastener, and one is a stripped out one. And I could probably try to do this on the screen, but it wouldn't do justice. But you'll see that everyday Torx tools that have been around for a long time will work on the undamaged one, but they will not work. They just turn and cam out in the damaged one. Where you take our RPT profile, it will work on the undamaged one properly, but it will also grip and remove this one. And the same for hex. I've got an undamaged hex and a stripped out hex, right. And the hex profile works the same way. But those are just two examples in this particular demo block that we'll show. Like I mentioned, we've got other profiles as well, like triple square, external Torx, that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how many auto repair shop owners have heard of rounded prevention technology in their tools. So if anything, we can educate them, and then they can ask their mobile tool distributor, do you carry grip edge tools? But if not, where can I buy grip edge tools? So
that's a great question. We manage our own e-tailing on our website. Okay. So you go to our website, anybody can buy our product. If you see our product on Amazon, we don't have a direct relationship with Amazon. They're getting our product from someplace else. But we do our own e-tailing through our website. Okay. If I remember correctly, the last time I was on our website, if you bought a certain dollar amount, I think there were some options. If you put in your credit card, we could divide that up amongst 4 payments. So for technicians that are looking to buy some of our product and like, oh, gee, I don't want to buy that much at this point in time, it's almost kind of like having that revolving account that you would have like on a tool truck, but we would divide it up in 4 different payment installments. And again, I'm not on our website right now. I don't know the fine details, but that's an option that a consumer can look into and verify and validate once they're on our website.
Yeah, I'm on the website here on my other computer right here. Just
okay.
gripedgetools.com. So any repair shop owner, any tech, anybody can go directly to the website and purchase directly from the company. So a lot of the people that we interview, they're huge companies that only sell to distributors, and the distributor sells to the end user. But with Grip Edge, the end user can go right directly to the website and purchase directly off the website. So it's
true, but I will recommend that we do really emphasize our relationship with professional tool distributors, whether it's a mobile or a warehouse distribution company and stuff like that. So obviously, if a technician or a shop has a relationship with any mobile or any other type of parts house that might buy from one of these warehouse distributors, definitely all day long, I'm going to support our infrastructure that we have out there, and encourage them to go there. It's not like you're going to save any necessarily money buying from us direct.
Mhm.
In some cases, you may get the same price, or maybe possibly a few pennies better, but always want to still recommend the structure that we have set up in place with professional tool distribution.
Right. Yeah. So the first place that they would want to just ask is currently where each shop owner, each tech purchases their tools.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Awesome.
And we've got several fleets too that buy some of our product to kind of keep in their tool crib. You've heard that term before, right? Tool crib. That's where they have their own tools for the kind of the shop to use. So
Right.
some of our stuff is used there, kind of like our socket extractors and broken bolt extractors, and even some of our hand tools and larger impact stuff like we have 3/4 drive impacts that go up to, I believe, like 24 millimeter in hex or 7/8 on SAE size. So, we have that, run that from, 4 millimeters up to 24 millimeters, so to speak, on hex as an example. So, and similar with Torx as well.
Okay. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about the team. So about the Grip Edge team. You're a new member of the team, and
Mm-hmm.
national account sales manager. So that's it. National. You're the guy. So
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit about the team at Grip Edge.
Well, yeah. So we are, like I mentioned, we are a privately held company, family ran company. Basically, we have a great group of people that support the company. So there's some family members that are in the company that kind of occupy, probably that senior leadership position type of thing. And then, of course, we've got a great group of industry veterans that are supporting the product, whether it's sales like myself or engineering, product management, operations, and order fulfillment. We have a couple of marketing communication guys that create videos and do a wonderful job creating videos and other marketing content for our websites and print and stuff like that. So great team. The culture with Grip Edge is very impressive as far as I'm concerned. There's really no games played. We're all in this together, and we roll up our sleeves for the common cause. And it's just a great example of a family ran business that's starting to grow, and you get some great, wonderful brand recognition out there.
Yeah. So speaking of culture, that's something that I try to bring up all the time in the podcast with the shop owners. You've worked in a shop, you've seen shop culture in the shop, you've seen you've seen culture in these corporations. What do you think are the key elements to creating a really good culture work environment? Because it doesn't matter whether it's a corporation or whether it's the independent repair shop. It's the same principles, I think. So,
I totally agree, Paul. Yeah, just having that professionalism and that openness and willing, and communication is key, right?
yeah.
Um, and yeah, that type of culture, having trust in your employees, and obviously, it starts from the top and works down. It really does. Whether it's a shop owner or lead technician or whatever, it's setting up that culture, setting up that expectation, and yeah, I can remember working at a repair shop and had a great owner, had some great senior level techs, some good. I was kind of that middle type tech guy, right? I wasn't the lube tech, but I wasn't the senior master guy either. But guys that were the lube techs and the tire busters and stuff like that, they were a great group of guys. But we had one technician at this one particular shop, even though the rest of the culture and the rest of the guys were great, kind of the bad apple, and that made things difficult when that individual wanted to ruffle up feathers, so to speak. So eventually that person ended up leaving, and the shop culture was wonderful after that. So
Right.
that's key, really. It's just going in and having the right attitude. I'll never know everything. No, I don't think anybody out there is ever going to know everything, but knowing who to ask, when to ask, and not trying to make yourself look better by making somebody else look bad. That's those are key things. So
Right. So setting proper expectations for staff, trusting the staff, professionalism, and communication. Those are all good advice for creating a really good work culture for for an auto repair shop's techs. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And that work just shows, if you're in that type of shop environment and that's the type of shop environment that you have, it's only going to show dividends in your work, and your customers and your consumers are going to notice that too. There's
right.
no question. If you go in and you're like, oh well, there's always some like we as humans, we may not hear firsthand about issues, but we will notice when there's tension
Yeah.
in a setting, right? If I walk in and I need to talk to somebody behind the counter and he's having a bad day, or he or she is having a bad day, and I notice that tension, or I notice that, and so do other people, right? So that just makes for a better organization and run for everybody.
Yeah. Great. Yep. So, Michael, I really want to thank you for your time today. Oh, are you going to be at the MAP conference in January? Is it in January?
Yes, I will. I will be at the MAP conference, and for anybody,
Oh,
any technicians that will be going to SEMA, there's two shows going on here in SEMA. There's Apex and there's SEMA. We will be at the SEMA Tool and Equipment Hall.
okay.
Upstairs, I can't remember which building, but it's booth number 38179, Grip Edge Tools. I believe it's the same building where tire changing is down on the bottom, and then go upstairs and it's all the tool and equipment people, if I'm remembering correctly. This will be the first year I'm at SEMA. I've always been at Apex before, which is kind of the sister show to Apex during the same time, right? So yeah, you got credentials for one show, you can go to the other. But yeah, so booth 38179, come see us at Grip Edge Tools. See some of our RPT designs in action on our demo blocks and our socket removals, removal tools, and broken bolt extractors. I think you'll be impressed.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll be at SEMA also, I don't know my booth number. I'll just be in the services area. I don't know what building that's in. It's huge. So it's going to be my first time at SEMA also.
Awesome.
So,
Well, please stop by.
yeah.
I'd love to introduce you to our ownership group.
Oh, really? The owners will be there?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. I'll try to swing by. And we'll have to just make sure to remember to send a text to each other when we get there. So
Absolutely.
week early for my workcation, where I work from 7 till like 2 or 3. I don't work 12 hours. I work till 2 or 3, take the rest of the day off. And then we go eat our early dinner and go to a show.
Awesome.
6 shows, one right after another. And then we got SEMA, and then we go home. So
there you go.
since I live in Salt Lake, I'm just going to drive. I can just drive down and drive back. So
yeah, there you go.
Forward going. So, and then I'll see you again. Just in a couple months later, I'll see you in Orlando for the MAP conference. Anybody who's not familiar with Motorist Assurance Program, go to motorist.org, take a look at it. As a shop owner, this is a fantastic way for you to increase your sales and provide customer trust and confidence in your recommendations, because a third party is providing it for you. So if you're not familiar, please go to motorist.org and check it out. So
I'll second that, Paul. When we're talking about culture, the AMR MAP culture is great. The guidance from Jeff and all the other team members that work with Jeff and all the advisors and everything, class act group as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So we really there's a lot of 200,000 shop owners, and there's a lot of them that are just totally unfamiliar with MAP, and we want to change that the best we can. All right, Michael, really appreciate your time today to be on Top
Thanks.
Podcast.
For additional automotive resources and exclusive content, follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all our episodes. Thanks again for joining us in the driver's seat, and we'll see you next time for another thrilling episode of Top Shop.